Anna Reeves could barely keep her eyes open. She had been fighting cold, fear, and exhaustion for so long that her thoughts drifted like loose paper. Her legs shook. Her breath cracked in her throat. Every step hurt, yet she forced herself to keep moving. If she stopped, she knew she wouldn't rise again. Her fingers slipped. Her vision blurred. Then, a shape filled her world. A door. A voice. A man too large to be real. She couldn't tell if he meant safety or danger. She only knew she needed one more chance. Would he give it? Anna didn't remember falling against the cabin door in the Dakota wilderness. She only remembered it opening. A wall of warmth hit her at once. Then a stronger force. Two arms lifting her with ease and carrying her inside. She felt her cheek touch something solid. A chest, like a warm oak beam. The smell of smoke and pine. Then the doors slammed shut behind them. "Easy," the man said. His voice was low, steady. A voice that belonged to someone used to storms. "You're safe now." Her knees buckled, but he caught her again. He set her near a fire, glowing bright in a stone hearth. Her boots were soaked through, her coat stiff with ice. She tried to speak, but her lips barely moved. "T.H. Thank you." "Don't talk yet." He pulled a chair closer and guided her into it with surprising gentleness for someone his size. He moved with quiet purpose, disappearing into another room. When he returned, he carried blankets and a steaming mug. "Drink." She tried to lift the cup. Her hands shook too much. He steadied them with one of his own. His palm swallowed hers completely. The drink burned warm down her throat. Coffee. Strong. And whiskey. Enough to wake heat in her chest. Who are you?" she whispered. "Name's Boone Walker." He crouched in front of her, studying her face. His eyes were a cool, steel blue. Not unkind, not soft either. Eyes that had seen long winters. "You're the new teacher. Folks in Hollow Creek been waiting." "I was trying to reach the town," she said. "My wagon." The driver left when the storm began. "I walked until I saw your light." "You're lucky you saw anything at all." Quote. He rose and checked the window. Snow beat against the glass in thick white bursts. "This one's not letting up soon. 3 days, maybe more." 3 days. Anna's heart clenched. The school board expected her to arrive before the weekend. She'd worked too hard for this position to lose it now. "I have to reach the town." "They're expecting." "You're not going anywhere tonight." Boone's tone held no rudeness, only truth. "Storm will take you if you try. Sit by the fire." "Warm up." She wanted to argue. Instead, she wrapped herself tighter in the blanket. Her fingers stung as life returned. Pain rolled through her hands, her feet, her legs. But she was alive. That alone felt like a miracle. As warmth settled into her bones, she looked around the cabin. It was sturdy, large for a single man. Handmade furniture. A swept wooden floor. A shelf filled with books. Shakespeare, Emerson, weather journals. More books than she'd expected in a remote homestead. "You live here alone?" she asked softly. 5 years. "And there's no one nearby?" "Closest neighbor's 10 miles west." Quote. She swallowed. A young woman alone with a man she did not know. The thought came sharp and cold despite the fire. Boone read it in her face. "You'll be safe here," he said. "I give you my word." Something in his voice eased the knot in her chest. Still, her mind raced. Her reputation, the school position. 3 days snowbound with a stranger could undo everything. Boone seemed to consider something. Then he stepped closer. "One thing you need to know." He nodded toward the single bed against the wall. "There's only one place to sleep." Anna stiffened. "I'll take the chair," he continued. "But if you stay there all night, you'll freeze, even with the fire going. Nights cut deep out here. Body heat matters." She met his eyes. He held her gaze without flinching. "I'm not asking anything of you, just trying to keep you alive." She believed him. She couldn't explain it, but she believed him. Boone handed her a dry shirt, clearly his own. "You can change in the back room. I'll stay out here." She clutched the shirt with numb fingers. "Why would you help me like this?" Quote, He looked back at the window, watching the storm erase the world. "Because you came out here alone," he said quietly. "Because you took a chance on a new life. And because a man who's been alone long enough learns to help someone who's trying to start over." Anna felt a tremor inside her, not from cold this time. "I don't even know you," she whispered. Boone turned toward her. His expression softened in a way that surprised her. "You will," he said. "If you want to." She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but tonight she chose survival. She chose warmth. She chose trust, just enough to make it through the storm. She rose slowly, blanket still around her shoulders. "Thank you," she said. Boone nodded once. "Settle in, teacher. Storm's just getting started." Anna woke to the soft crackle of the fire. Warmth wrapped around her like a heavy quilt. For a moment she didn't remember where she was. Then she breathed in the scent of wood, smoke, and pine. Boone's shirt, far too large for her, brushed her wrists. She blinked slowly. The storm still muttered against the windows, but the world inside the cabin was quiet, safe. She sat up, feeling strength return to her limbs. A sound reached her. The solid, rhythmic thud of an axe outside. She rose and crossed to the frosted window. Boone stood in the swirling morning snow, splitting logs with easy, practiced movements. His breath rose in gray clouds. His wool shirt clung to his broad shoulders. Each swing of the axe landed clean, controlled, measured. The sight steadied her more than the fire had. She wrapped the blanket around herself and walked to the small table where her leather satchel waited. Her letters of recommendation, her teaching contract, her silver pen. She checked each item with care. They were damp but safe. "You're up." Boone's voice came from the doorway. Anna startled slightly. He stepped inside, brushing snow from his hair. He carried an armful of logs that he stacked near the hearth. "You slept hard," he said. "I was very tired." He poured coffee and set a mug in front of her. "Drink while it's hot." She wrapped both hands around it. The warmth settled through her palms. "You made breakfast." He shrugged. "Figured you'd need it." A plate of biscuits sat on the table with a jar of berry preserves. She spread a little on one biscuit, surprised by the sweetness. "This is wonderful." Boone sat across from her, elbows resting lightly on his knees. He watched her eat without saying much. He didn't stare, he simply noticed. "Tell me something," he said at last. "Why would a woman from the East come all the way out here to teach in Hollow Creek? It's a rough place. Hard winters. Harder living." Anna set down the biscuit. Her heart tightened. "I wanted a life that mattered. A life with purpose." He waited. "My father worked in a bank," she continued. "My mother was sick for many years. Medicine was expensive. Father took money to care for her. He paid it back, but the bank found out. People talked. They whispered about my family. When my mother passed, the whispers grew louder." Boone's jaw tightened. "He did it for love. That matters." "Not to the people in my old town," Anna said quietly. "They only saw disgrace. My teaching post was not renewed. No one would hire me. I decided to leave for good." Boone leaned back, studying her with a slow breath. "Took courage to start over." "It took fear," she said. "Fear of living a life that wasn't mine." He looked at her a long moment. Then he nodded. "Still took courage." Silence settled between them. A warm, steady silence that didn't feel heavy. After breakfast, Boone checked the storm again. Not clearing yet. Another day, at least. "I should help," Anna said. "I can work. I don't want to sit idle." He tipped his head toward a basket. "Some mending in there." "If you feel up to it." She picked up one of his shirts and laughed softly. "You tear these often." "Work's rough out here." As she stitched, Boone repaired a harness by the fire. They shared small pieces of their lives. She spoke of her students back east. He spoke of the cabin he had built with his own hands and the years he'd spent alone on this land. At one point he reached for his coffee and winced. "You're hurt," Anna said. "Just a cracked rib. Old injury." "How?" "War." She hesitated. "Did you fight in many battles?" "More than I care to remember." His tone carried a finality that told her not to press further. "After it ended, I came west. Needed quiet, needed space. Anna nodded. She understood. She too had come west, seeking something she could not name. Later, Boone pulled out a fiddle case. He held the instrument with a strange tenderness. "Haven't played for a while. Figured you might like some music." "I would," she said softly. The first note rose warm and full in the cabin. He played simple songs, old hymns. Quiet folk tunes passed down through families, the kind that carried memory inside them. Anna felt tears slip down her cheeks before she could stop them. Boone stopped playing. "Did I upset you?" "No, it's beautiful. I haven't heard music since leaving home." He played another piece, gentle and steady. She listened with closed eyes. When he finished, the silence that followed wrapped around them like a soft blanket. "Boone," she said finally, "why did you offer me help so quickly? You didn't even know me." He set the fiddle aside, his voice lowered. "Storms take people fast. I wasn't about to let it take you, and I know what it feels like to stand at the edge of life and wonder if anyone would care enough to pull you back." Her breath caught. "Were you there once?" "Yes." The word carried weight, enough weight to make her chest ache. He rose and began preparing the bed with thick quilts. "You take the left side tonight," he said quietly. "It stays warmer. I'll stay on the right. Just sleep. Nothing more." Anna touched the edge of the quilt. "Thank you, truly." Boone paused. "Storm will clear soon. When it does, I'll take you to town. But until then," his voice softened, "you're safe here." She believed him, more deeply than she expected. As she settled into the warm bed, Boone took the other side, careful to keep to his space. The storm still raged outside, but inside the cabin it felt different now. Not just safe. Something beginning. Something she wasn't ready to name yet. The storm eased by morning, but the world outside still swirled in white. The wind no longer screamed. It whispered instead, as if tired from its long fight. Anna woke slowly, her cheek warm against the heavy quilt. The other side of the bed was empty, but still warm. Boone must have left only moments ago. She sat up, listening. A soft clatter came from the stove. The smell of coffee drifted through the cabin. For the first time in days, she felt rested. Boone turned as she stepped into the main room, blanket wrapped around her shoulders. "Morning," he said. "Good morning." Her voice was quiet, almost shy. He poured her a cup of coffee and set it on the table. "Storm's breaking. Sun might come out later." Anna nodded. "I'm grateful we survived it." Boone paused, his hand resting on the back of the chair. "You did more than survive. Most people would have stopped walking. You kept going." She lowered her eyes. "I didn't feel brave." "Bravery isn't a feeling. It's a choice." The words settled deep in her chest, warming her more than the fire. After breakfast, she asked, "May I look at your books?" He smiled a little. "You can. Might find a few old friends on that shelf." She ran her fingers along the spines. Emerson, scripture, a few battered novels. He had written notes in the margins. Sharp, thoughtful lines that showed a mind far deeper than she expected from a man living alone on the frontier. "You read a lot," she said. "Quiet nights out here. Books keep a man company better than whiskey." She smiled. "My students back east used to say the same." "You miss them?" Quote. "I do. But I'm excited to meet the children in Spring Hollow, too." She hesitated. "I hope the school board won't dismiss me for arriving late." "They won't," Boone said firmly. "The town hasn't had a proper teacher in 2 years. They'd beg you to stay." His confidence steadied her. The day passed softly. She mended more shirts. He worked on a carving at the table. A small horse formed beneath his large hands, shaped with surprising delicacy. "You're very skilled," she said. "Started carving during the war," Boone replied. "Kept my hands busy, kept my head clear." She ran a thumb gently over the wooden horse's smooth mane. "It's beautiful." "Maybe one day," Boone said quietly, "kids in this valley will play with them." Her heart gave a small, unexpected tug. As afternoon turned to evening, Boone returned from checking the barn with a light in his eyes. "Snow's letting up," he said. "Tomorrow we'll ride to town. I'll take you myself." Anna froze. She should have felt relieved. Instead, a small ache formed beneath her ribs. Will I stay at the boarding house then? For now. Boone set his gloves on the table. You'll start your teaching. Get settled. His voice was steady, but she felt something under it. Something that matched the ache in her chest. She looked toward the window. The world outside was beginning to glow with late light. A hush had fallen across the plain. A hush filled with things neither of them said. Boone? She whispered. He turned. Why did you build this cabin here, so far from everyone? He lowered himself into the chair across from her. His features shifted. Something raw surfaced. I thought being alone would fix things, he said. Thought it'd quiet my past. But it didn't. I just learned to live with silence. He looked into the fire. Then you showed up at my door, half frozen, half conscious. And for the first time in years, the silence didn't feel so heavy. Anna's breath caught. He looked at her again. Really looked. This place doesn't feel the same with you in it. She swallowed hard. Her fingers tightened in her lap. Boone! He stood gently, not fast, not forward. Just enough to close a little of the space between them. You don't owe me anything, he said. When I take you to town tomorrow, you'll have a new start. People, work, safety. His voice dropped low, almost a whisper. And if that's the life you want, I won't stand in your way. Anna's eyes burned with warmth she didn't expect. But, Boone continued, if you ever decide you want something else, something quieter, steadier, someone to build with, I want you to know the door is open. Her heart thudded hard enough that she couldn't speak. He stepped back, giving her space, always giving her space. Later, as they prepared the bed for another night, the moment still hung between them. He kept his distance, careful and respectful, but his presence filled the room. Boone, she said softly as they settled in. Thank you. For everything. Wasn't just kindness, he said quietly. You've given this cabin more life than it's had in years. She stared at the dim ceiling, listening to his breathing. Slow, steady, strong. Outside, the storm finally faded. Inside, something new began to form. A warmth that had nothing to do with quilts or fire. When sleep finally came, it came gently. And Anna Reeves knew that tomorrow would bring a choice she hadn't expected to face so soon. The next morning came with a strange, glowing quiet. Snow still drifted across the plain, but the sky above showed thin streaks of pale blue. Anna woke slowly, surprised by how warm she felt. Boone was already up, his side of the bed empty but still faintly warm. She listened to the familiar sounds of the cabin. The fire. Footsteps, the gentle clink of a coffee pot. For a moment she simply lay there, feeling something she hadn't felt in months. Peace. When she stepped into the main room, Boone was fastening his coat. Morning, teacher. Morning, she said softly. He handed her a mug of coffee. Storm's clearing fast. We can ride to Spring Hollow today. Her heart tugged. Of course. Boone must have sensed the hesitation in her voice. He didn't mention it. He didn't push. He simply said, eat first. It's a long ride. They shared a quiet breakfast. She kept catching him watching her in small moments, not staring, just noticing, memorizing. She felt the same pull in herself, though she didn't say it aloud. After packing her satchel and wrapping herself in her coat, Anna followed Boone outside. The air was sharp and cold, but the storm had lost its bite. The world glittered with fresh snow. Boone saddled his horse, then brought out a gentle bay mare for her. She's steady, won't give you trouble. Anna stroked the horse's neck. She's beautiful. Ready? Boone asked. She nodded, though part of her wished she wasn't. They rode in silence for a while, the